Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? This is Colin, back at it again with episode 9 of A New Direction, the podcast where I talk about all sorts of things ranging from a variety of different topics and just sort of give my thoughts and opinions. Today I'm back with a standard episode, so we've got 4 different topics to discuss today. But like usual, we're going to start with the music recommendation. And today I have an album called Loving. It's a self titled album by Loving, which is like a sort of lo-fi rock, indie pop, psychedelic pop sort of album, and it's really really good. It's very much reminds me of like a warm summer day from times past, like a dream, like kind of like you're recollecting on the past or something. I don't know, but it's very dreamy and nice, and the melodies are kind of simple, but they just hit the right vibe, and I really really like this album. And I discovered it from TikTok, funnily enough. So TikTok did do one good thing for me, and that was showing me this album. The standout track for me would definitely be where the track "Where Everybody Goes." It's the last track on the album, and it's a really good outro, very nice, and I really like it. But I get very much like I don't know. I get a lot of different vibes from this album. There are parts that almost remind me of like Gilbert O'Sullivan, "Alone Again." You know, it's kind of old school sounding in a way, and I really like that and think it's just a really good album. But that's something I've been listening to lately, and I would highly encourage it, or encourage anybody who likes lo-fi sort of sounding music or is just interested in something new to give it a go. I would give it probably like a 7 out of 10, 7.5. It's a solid album. But with that being said, we're going to dive right into the topics of the video. So starting off, we've got the cooling weather and just my opinions overall on like autumn as a season, which where I live here in South Carolina, it's starting to get a little cooler, especially in the morning and at nighttime. It's definitely a drastic difference from how it's been the past few months, especially what I'm used to. But I definitely welcome it with open arms. I really like the cold, which is kind of weird, I guess. But I definitely find that the cold weather brings sort of a different vibe to the I don't know, to the surroundings, just to everything in general. Like the cold is more cozy, I guess. Like when you're inside and you light kind of like the logs, the fireplace logs, and you just kind of hang out with a blanket and just watch movies and chill and hang out, and it's pretty cool. Although having to wake up and go to class at 8 a.m. Is definitely very chilly outside, but you kind of get used to it and adapt to it. And autumn in general has just been a season that I've always kind of appreciated, especially the colors and everything of fall with the leaves falling off the trees and whatnot. Everything just looks very beautiful during autumn, and you have really cool Halloween, really cool holidays like Halloween. Oh, I'm getting my words jumbled today, but you have like Halloween and Thanksgiving, and just a lot of cool sort of gatherings and times to hang out with people, and it's just really cool. And I think autumn definitely brings kind of the prerequisite vibes for Christmas. Like it kind of prepares you for the winter time, which is really just cold and chilly, and you definitely want to stay inside a lot. But autumn, you're still able to kind of go out and enjoy the outside as the leaves fall off and the colors change, and it's just a really pretty time of the year. And I'm very grateful to live in like a place where it doesn't get so freezing cold that it's like unbearable, where it's out in the negative degrees all the time. But I kind of get the best of both worlds where it'll get really chilly in like the 30s or 40s, but it's still bearable. I can bundle up and go outside and kind of walk around the block like I was talking about liking to do, and it's just it's really cool. I definitely enjoy the autumn kind of mentality where everything is sort of, I don't know, just chill and relaxed, and just a good end of the year. But it kind of ushers in Christmas, which can be kind of chaotic. But overall, I'm definitely very thankful for fall and autumn and the colors and just everything that comes along with the coldening of the day. I will say the daylight savings, it gets really dark where I live very early. Like it's already starting to get dark at like 6 or 7 o'clock here, and that's before daylight savings time. So it's literally gonna be getting like pitch black outside by like 6 or 6:30. Here coming up whenever the clocks roll back, it's gonna be interesting to see. I'm not really a fan of that. I've always kind of thought that that's been kind of annoying to deal with, but it is what it is, and you just kind of live with it and deal with it. And time goes on, life goes on. But having it get so dark so early is definitely kind of sucks for like making plans and hanging out during the day because it gets dark so early and it's not it. But it makes nighttime cool. I mean, hanging out at night is still just as fun. So I would honestly say that I enjoy hanging out at night more because it's definitely more kind of chill and laid back, and I don't know, something about it just hits different. But that's kind of my opinions on fall, and that kind of transitions us into the next topic, which is definitely like an autumn sort of thing. But I want to talk about the Renaissance Festival, which is something I don't have a whole lot of experience with. I've only been one time. There's a Renaissance Festival about an hour away from where I live that goes on about this time of year. And I went in the ninth grade. I went as a part of a field trip for like this program that I was in, and we went to the Renaissance Festival. And for the longest time, I've always thought that like medieval, just like the medieval lifestyle, I guess, is very fascinating with all the chivalrous acts and, knights and all the shiny armor and riding horses and, just all sorts of crazy things that are very kind of foreign to us today. Almost sort of like, I don't know, primitive today or by today's standards. But I've always been kind of fascinated by that, especially the music and everything that came out of the Renaissance and the art and sort of just the Baroque period of music and all sorts of just incredible masterpiece paintings that came out of that era. And it's really cool to just kind of see how the Renaissance era kind of changed the world and, changed how we look at things as a species and kind of how we analyze things, and the scientific method really became a thing, and, analyzing evidence and stuff. It was really cool, I guess, to kind of see the change in perspective, change in thought process, change in mentality that kind of went along with the Renaissance. But I went to the Renaissance Festival. That kind of is what this main sort of topic is about, kind of my experience having gone. But going to the Renaissance Festival, I kind of really didn't know what to expect. I kind of pulled up, and I was definitely a little underdressed. It was very chilly, I remember, and I only had like a hoodie, and like my head was cold, my ears were getting cold, and I didn't have really long hair. I have pretty long hair now, but back then my hair was shorter, and so my ears were kind of cold, and like my hands were freezing. I didn't have any gloves or anything, and I just remember being very chilly. And we pulled up, and this Renaissance Festival is honestly really big. Like, they've got like a solid few acres of stuff going on. I mean, I can't really say specifically how much is going on, but they've got hundreds of tents here at this festival. And you kind of walked in, and they've got all sorts of food and stores and stuff, and they're selling crazy overpriced memorabilia. And, even though it's overpriced, it's still kind of badass because it's the Renaissance and you want to buy all of it. And they've got like jewelry and all this dope stuff. But I remember as part of the field trip, like we were divided up into like groups, I think. Like there were like groups of 4 of us that we would go off and kind of explore the fair on our own. And I remember my group, we went and got like some pizza at one point, and they had like this stuffed crust pizza that was honestly really, really good. I was thoroughly impressed by the quality of the Renaissance Fair stuffed crust pizza. Would encourage anybody who goes to get that if it's an option, because it was delicious. That is one thing that really sticks out to me about the trip, honestly, was how good the pizza was. But yeah, it was really cool seeing all the people who would like really put a lot of effort into going to the Renaissance Festival. Like they were dressed up and in character and stuff. It was really cool to see how detailed a lot of the costumes and everything were that you saw. People literally riding around on horses and stuff. It was crazy to see like how into it people were. It's kind of honestly kind of like reenactors, like Civil War and Revolutionary War reenactors. They get like really into it. I was just really fascinated to see how many people like really got into the Renaissance Festival and just, went into it balls to the wall and had crazy detailed costumes and weapons and talked in accents and everything. And there was actually a guy that I was friends with back in this time. This was when I was a freshman, and he was a senior, so he's a good bit older than me as far as kind of school years went. But he actually worked at the Renaissance Festival, and he was here that day. He was actually there at the festival that day, and he was like dressed up. He was wearing like like kind of like a robe, I think, or some sort of kind of not peasant garb, but more less flamboyant, I guess. And he was sitting on the ground and he was playing like a lute, and he was just sitting there playing a lute, sitting on the ground, and it was so cool. Like I remember just walking and seeing him and saying hey to him, and it was just so cool to see him, in character and playing a lute and seeing just how into it people got with this. And it was cool to kind of have a personal connection with somebody that was doing it and was really invested in it. But that was kind of the brunt of the trip. Honestly, was walking around and seeing all the stores and eating the pizza. They at one point did like a 1v1 horse cavalry charge sort of thing at one point. That was pretty cool. But obviously, they're not obviously not like actually lancing each other. They were just for show. But it was pretty cool to see because the horses had full armor on and the knights had full armor on and the long lances and everything. It was just really cool to see the amount of effort that went into the whole presentation of this festival. Um, but I remember the stores. There were a whole bunch of jewelry stores. Like you could buy sorts of like silver and gold jewelry of varying qualities and prices. Weapons, you could buy like daggers and swords and that kind of thing. There was obviously alcoholic beverage sort of stores where they would sell different like old brew, whiskey and all sorts of liquor and stuff. It was really cool though. And in hindsight, being older, I would definitely like to kind of go back and see what all they had, because the stores weren't really as interesting to me at the time because I was more in shock and awe of the, you know, sights and sounds of everything, and you really felt like you were transported back in time to the Renaissance, which was something that I thought was incredible because it was just so immersive. And I was really grateful for the experience, and it was honestly one of the best field trips I can remember having throughout school, like as a whole. The Renaissance Festival is definitely really, really dope. But I'm sure if I were to go back now, I would definitely have a bigger appreciation for all the different stores and, all sorts of, minute details that I didn't really notice the first go around. But I know that they were selling like a whole bunch of shirts and hoodies. You could buy beanies, and they were even selling like costume type stuff, like where you could build your own costume with the cloaks and all the cool armor and everything. They would sell all that. It was really cool. But to anybody who has never been to the Renaissance Festival, I would highly recommend checking it out because it is really badass. And just being able to go and see everybody, dressed up and see all the sights and sounds of the Renaissance and all the art and music and just how immersive it is to go. It is an experience that I recommend to anybody. Just whether or not you want to try something new or you've never been, or you just want to try something on a limb, the Renaissance Festival is really, really dope, and I would encourage anybody to go check it out because there are some really cool things to see there. But being more in the autumn spirit, kind of with Halloween coming up, I guess I wanted to talk about the things that I find creepy, which is kind of a very broad question. A lot of things can be considered creepy, but I guess I'll kind of go over all the things that I'm kind of uneased by through this segment here. But the first thing that immediately comes to mind was from like my childhood, especially, was bees. I was absolutely terrified of bees. I just thought they were really creepy and ugly, and the way they would sting you, and just like the anticipation of being stung by a bee would just kill me. And my fear of them was actually so bad that I would avoid going into public places or like going into stores if there were bees around the entrances, which living here in South Carolina is quite frequent. There are bees literally everywhere, and so it made life kind of hard as I was avoiding all these stores and entrances, and the bees were just really getting to me. And I remember the very first time I got stung by a bee, I was at school, and I was in the fifth grade, and Devin actually will back up this account of this story. I got stung, and I might have even talked about this again, or at one point. I can't really remember, but I got stung on the chest the first time I ever got stung by a bee, and I was a little bit alarmed, a little afraid, because both my dad and my grandfather are allergic to bees, and so I was not sure if I followed suit and was also allergic, which I wasn't, but I didn't know that at the time. And so I got stung on the chest, and I like pulled my shirt down and was running around just making all these like weird noises, and it was just really weird and definitely a very odd reaction to have to a bee sting. Maybe not the most normal sort of way to react, but I was terrified. I was in fifth grade, and I was a little quiet, awkward kids. So that was just how I chose to react in that moment. Um, that was the first time. The second time I got stung by a bee was by a yellow jacket, which, if you're unfamiliar, yellow jackets are really, really painful when they sting, or so they say. I got stung on like the hand by one, and it hurt, but it wasn't anything unbearable. I wasn't expecting it, but when it happened, I was just like, okay, that's cool. I got stung, and then I went back inside, and my grandfather then proceeded to get stung as well. That's a story. We were outside. And my grandparents' house, like their front porch, they don't really use their front porch that much, and so there are these bushes out front that just get, I guess, infested or swarmed with bees of all varieties. And we were out front, and they had a wreath on the door. And I guess some of these bees from the bushes had migrated to living in this wreath. And in this case, it was yellow jackets. And when we walked out, as I went to walk back inside and open the door, I got stung on the hand by a yellow jacket that I didn't even see. And naturally, that was very kind of alarming and shocking to me. But I went inside, washed it off, handled it like a champ. And then my grandfather proceeded to go outside and get stung as well. And since my grandfather was or is obviously allergic to them, I'm maybe my grandfather's probably watching this. I'm sure he remembers this experience because following this, we had to go to Walmart and get like some cream for it so it wouldn't get too swollen up and everything. And then after that, I think we went out to eat or something like that. It was a very interesting day to say the least. But bees are definitely up there for things I find creepy. Um, I think that as far as like creepy in the sense of like horror movies, like the types of things I find creepy with that, I definitely think like demonic possession is kind of creepy. The way people talk and their eyes roll back in their head or turn black, and just it's creepy to me when humans become inhuman. I guess like somebody like you and me starts displaying those traits, and it's just kind of creepy and freaky to me. Um, I'm done. I'm not like afraid of clowns, but I'm kind of unnerved by them a little bit. I'm not. I would approach one. It's nothing like that, but they're kind of unnerving a little bit if you think about it. Like this grown person dressing up in all this makeup and attire for children. It's kind of weird, kind of creepy. Um, I definitely think bugs, just in general. I mentioned bees, but just bugs in general, like cockroaches and beetles and just oh god, there's all sorts of creepy crawlies that I can think of that are just very disgusting and unnerving to me. And living here where I live, it's just bugs are everywhere. Like we have cicadas here, when they come seasonally. We've got all sorts of spiders. Oh, that actually brings up a good story that I'm going to tell. We've got all sorts of spiders and ants and beetles and just all sorts of weird creatures that shouldn't even exist. We've got crawdads. We've got all sorts of crazy things down here in the South. But that reminds me of a story about a spider that I'm going to tell here. This will probably be the last story for this segment. But this story involves me and Parth, so shout out to Parth, who is probably listening to this. If you are, I'm sure you'll probably comment about this story because it is one that I will never forget, and I'm sure he won't either. But this occurred back in, I believe, 2019. And so I had just written a song. I had composed a black gaze, which is black metal and shoegaze mixed together. It was a black gaze song. And I had gone to Parth's house to record it because in his basement they've got like a mixer and an electronic drum set, and they've are able to record down there. And so I went over to his house to record this song, and we went downstairs and we had kind of started working on it a little bit, but we were also just kind of messing around a little bit, hanging out and chatting and just kind of messing around with the instruments. And I'm over there playing the drums, and I look down, and in the corner of this room, so the basement is not a huge space, but there's like a platform that goes down, and there's like chairs that sit on this platform, kind of an elevated sort of spot, and then down in the floor, all the way in the very floor of the basement, at the front of the room is the all the music equipment. So there's like a keyboard, like a synthesizer, and then the drum set, and then the mixer is kind of in the wall, and then there's a projector screen that folds down or lowers down on the wall that will cover up the mixer and all the cables and everything. And then in the corner there, the electronic drum set is in the far left corner of this room. And so sitting behind or like directly to the left of the drum set on the floor is this PA speaker. It's about, a foot high. It's a standard just kind of desk speaker, I guess, that you would see. And so I'm sitting there playing the drum set, and I look down and I see this gigantic spider. And I'm not immediately, sure that it's real because I notice it, but it's so comically large that it looks like a prop, and it's not moving. It looks very fake, just sitting there. And so I see it, I kind of brush it off, but then, I get up and Parth goes over to the drum set to play, and Parth sits down, and that is when I look over and notice that the spider is actually like alive. Like I look over and it like twitches a little bit, like it moves. And I pointed out to Parth, I'm like, is that a real spider? Because, I wasn't sure if it was like a trick of the light. Maybe I was seeing something, or, I wasn't sure what was going on. I thought maybe it was a prop. And so I'm like, is that a real spider? And Parth looks down and sees this spider. And when I'm talking, this spider is large. Like, it is huge. I took pictures of it. If I can go back and find them, I'll put them on the screen, just how big this spider was. It was huge. And Parth, sees it. He jumps up and exclaims this, much the same as I would have. And so we've got to figure out how to kill this thing, because Parth is, afraid of spiders. I'm kind of, I'm not afraid of spiders, but I'm kind of not, I'm not cool being around spiders, especially not that big. And so me and Parth are kind of having a dilemma here, because I've got to record this song. That's what I came over here for. But, we got to kill this spider before I can do that. And it's just like, what do we do? And we kind of get into this conundrum on how to kill this spider. And eventually we end up, getting some wood spray, like the wood cleaner. It's like a spray that you would spray on like a finished wooden surface and wipe down, and it polishes it up. It's like a spray. And eventually, after, failing to come up with any better way to kill this spider, because we didn't have anything quite long enough that we were comfortable to smash it with, ultimately, we just end up spraying it with this spray. And that drops it, the spider gets sprayed, the spray hits the spider immediately goes down on the floor, and then I start smashing it, because I've got like a dustpan kind of thing in my hand, and I smash the spider's dead, put him in the dustpan, flush him down the toilet. That was the end of the story. It was very traumatizing. Big spiders here in South Carolina, would not recommend living here if you don't like spiders. Yeah, I've also seen a black widow spider before. That's nothing really special. But I saw one in my house one time, and we killed it, and yeah. But spiders are definitely not my favorite bug, and I am kind of creeped out by them for sure. All their legs and just, I don't like them. But finally, that transitions us into the last topic here, which is what I want for Christmas, which is pretty early on here, being only I'm recording this on the 22nd of October, so we've still got 2 months to go until Christmas. But just kind of right here off the bat, I'm honestly not quite sure what I want for Christmas. The past 2 years I've gotten, so last year I got a new guitar. I got an Ibanez electric guitar. It's an RG. It's like a zebra wood top. It's beautiful. I love that instrument. Definitely my main guitar for a long time, and it plays really well, slim neck, and it's got the DiMarzio, I think it's like the Tone Zone pickups, and they sound really good. I'm a fan of them. Fixed bridge, I'm not a huge tremolo fan, but it's a beautiful guitar. It plays really well. I love the tone. Kind of gets the PAF sound that I like. However, I really want to get like a Les Paul Custom. I've been looking at the older Greco 80s, like late 70s, early 80s models, but they're kind of expensive right now, and so that might be a little out of my budget as far as what I want to spend on a guitar. But if I can find the right one, I would definitely be interested in buying one. I would definitely like a Les Paul Custom. I'm a huge fan of the Black Beauty ones with the gold hardware. They just look incredible. So that would definitely be the first choice for me. But I don't know. Maybe I'll try to get one of those, or maybe like an Epiphone Les Paul custom, or maybe I'll get something completely different, like a new TV or a new monitor. I don't know. It's hard to say right now. I also really want like a 12 string guitar, like a 12 string acoustic guitar. So I might end up getting one of those at some point as well. Just a lot of different things that I could really go for. It's hard to choose, hard to decide. I'm definitely going to be getting a new microphone soon. I talked about that in a past episode, but that'll be coming up here probably fairly soon. I'll definitely update y'all on the video when I do get it, and hopefully it'll be a noticeable difference. Although so far I've been very happy with the quality that this microphone has produced for these videos. I think that it sounds pretty good, and I don't do any sort of post-processing or EQ or anything on these audio tracks. I just speak and put everything together, so it works out really nicely for the quality. I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, the options for Christmas are really kind of up in the air right now. I guess as my question to the viewers here would be, what do y'all want for Christmas? What are y'all planning on getting? Do y'all have any sort of Christmas list thought up here? I know, like I said, it's kind of early, but do y'all have any sort of Christmas lists or ideas that y'all are looking forward to? Put them in the comments. I would love to read about that. But yeah, definitely a Les Paul for sure. If I can find the right one, like I said. Maybe some new computer parts, new monitor, maybe a new graphics card. I'm still running the 1060, like I had mentioned before, way back in like episode 1 or 2. Still got the 1060, but maybe get a new one here if the prices come down anytime soon. But I'm not really foreseeing that. I don't know, maybe some new stuff for my room. I'm huge into kind of having a nice interior space and just having a nice decorated space to hang out in, since it's my sort of my man cave or my den. So maybe getting some new stuff for that. It's really hard to say, but I will definitely keep everybody updated on how my Christmas list is doing. But with that being said, that will conclude episode 9 here. I hope y'all enjoyed, and if you're liking the content, just press the like button, subscribe. I'd love for y'all to stick around and continue on with me on this journey as I make more episodes. But I hope y'all have a great rest of your day, night, or whatever time y'all are listening to this, and I hope it finds you in a positive state of mind. But with that being said, stay chill, and I will see y'all next time. This has been Colin, hosting A New Direction, and I'm out.